Miguel. All right.
Well, welcome to the IslandStats football show on this Sunday, October 4th. We have some interesting results that took place today. I'll run down the list as before we get into the show, and then we'll get into more of it. In the Premier Division, up at the Phc Stadium, it was Phc Zebras 2, Devonshire Colts 2. At the Southampton Oval, it was Southampton 0. North Village Rams 2. At Wellington Oval, it was St. George's Colts 0. Somerset Trojans 1. At the Garrison Field, it was Crossroads 0. Devonshire Cougars 3. In the First Division, it was Hamilton Parish 5. Young Men Social Club 1. Island Rangers 1. St. David's 1. And the other First Division match, it was Boulevard Blazers 3. Vasco 1. So obviously we're going to get back to our picks later on, but which result shocked you the most? And I'll start with you, Punchy, because you were very, very adamant last week. You wanted to see improvement of play throughout the game. So which result surprised you today?
I went to the game with North Village and Southampton Rangers. I don't know if it's, I think Kenny's kind of fixed a few things. He's made some few adjustments, which is really good today. You can see defensively, we were very sound. I thought he made, what was really evident is that he made sure that Rangers played outside, and when the ball came inside, we packed the defense really well. Also, he did that against
Robin Hood
the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Quicker players. Much quicker, but Kenny was really smart in terms of his defensive setup, and then they counterattacked. Really, that's what Norfolk set up today. I thought Rangers didn't have that much attack. They showed a lack of trying to get behind the defense of North Village. I just thought that Kenny set his team up really well today, yeah. And the goals were well taken.
Yeah. Macy, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish, Punchy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just thought today's game against Rangers showed that Kenny was very smart in terms of how he set the team up defensively. They worked hard. I got to give praise to John Bryars too. Jonathan Bryars. Yeah, he's taken a real leadership role, and his quality is showing up. His leadership is what's showing up a lot, and I'm really happy for him. But again, I thought that we were very organized, and I just thought that Kenny set the team up really well. I just thought so. That's it.
Well, I'm going to say thank you to Coach Keita because she went on the training session this week.
Right.
As she promised she was, and she promised that they would come out on top. So, Maceo, which result, and obviously a scoreline for a result, what surprised you the most?
Yeah. I would have to also say the Village result. With Jamar having been able to beat Kenny in the last two games, I thought that was going to be a foregone conclusion that he was going to figure it out. But in watching Rangers, they were apprehensive from the start, and I agree with McGarrett that. Village set herself up well not to be beat and counterattack. But the other part of it, as I look, it changes the dynamics as how I view Rangers moving forward. Because what Jamar, let's make no mistake about what Jamar Wilkinson has to do up there. He has to change a culture. He has to change a culture into a winning culture. He comes from a winning culture at Dandytown. And Rangers historically are not a winning culture. So that was evident today that the challenge is not beating a football game. The challenge is is changing the culture. And Village have culture of winning, and that was evident today in Village's approach to the game. You know, it was evident that the culture of winning showed up.
I'll go to you, Coach Keto. Which result surprised you today? Because you had all the confidence in the world that North Village was going to beat Rangers. So, which result surprised you today?
I think I got all mine right. So I can't wait for us to recap because I think I nailed it. I think I nailed every result.
No, you didn't.
I didn't.
No.
But I can't say anyone really surprised me. I actually watched the PAC and Colts match. I think I had picked PHC to win that one.
Mm-hmm. You were good up until the last few minutes.
Yes, I had picked PAC to win that one, and we will talk more about that game when we get into other topics. But
okay.
I can say that when I selected Village last week, I kind of went 60% heart, 40% head, and my heart won out. But if it would have been a surprise result, it probably would have been the Village one, having been the results against Rangers, our past games, and been having trouble scoring. We scored 3 goals in 4 games now, so that would have been the surprise result as well for me.
Right. Danica, hearing all the results, what result would have surprised you this week?
Good evening, everybody. Actually, I didn't even know any results.
Well, I'll run through them again for you. It was Phc Zebras 2, Devonshire Colts 2, Southampton Rangers 0, North Village Rams 2. Also in the Premier Division, it was Crossroads 0, Devonshire Cougars 3, and St. George's Colts 0, Somerset Trojans 1. In the First Division, it was Boulevard Blazers 3, Vasco 1. Young Men Social Club went down 5-1 to Hamilton Parish, and Island Rangers drew 1-1 with St. David's.
Pretty much. I mean, I guess it would be like the Village and the Rangers game. I would have expected probably. I think what I chose, a draw, or did I choose Rangers? Can't remember.
You chose Rangers.
Yeah, that pretty much surprised me. Going off, like I said, what last week with Mr. Jared Deal, for us, I'm saying, with Kenny Thompson. I mean, not Kenny Thompson, Jamal having, had his team win against him the last couple of times or whatever the case may be. But that was quite a surprise.
Yeah. For me, the surprise would have been up at Malabar in the First Division, where Island Rangers for years, and I even said it last week, they usually start off strong, but I had St. David's just edging them out, and the fact that they played to a 1-1 draw was kind of a surprise for me for the games this week. So let's go to what we know. Punchy, you had said that you had been to the Village game, and you've explained in detail how you think Kenny made those adjustments. But Keita, let's go to the game you were at, obviously PHC and Devonshire Colts. Devonshire Colts jumped out to an early lead with Rozier Jones scoring in the 9th minute, but then they got 2 goals late in the second half and then conceded another goal. So give us your take on what you saw from that match.
Well, initially I was only staying for like the first 20 minutes, and I said, I get enough to talk about tonight. But I ended up staying to the final whistle. Both teams very young, very energetic. Colts play at a higher pace than PHC. PHC play a little bit more tactically. I think that I expected the game to kind of lose some steam, but I think what kept me there was the intensity of the game. There was so many exciting goal mouth moments. Even Colts' first goal was a good save by the Zebras keeper, and he was just there to follow up and didn't make any mistake there. I think we would have seen a lot more. Unfortunately, he ran off hurt moments after he scored. He never really recovered. I don't know. I think he had hamstring. Yeah. And PAC were holding on. I think PAC were at times the worst enemy. Marco, very crafty player, but he tends to if you're trying to counterattack with a player like Marco, it's not going to be successful because he actually holds the ball up, invites defenders or opponents to come at him so that he can kind of beat them. Where Keyshawn more of you can play the ball through and he'll knock the ball around and keep the game moving. PAC had some chances. They had, I believe, they probably created more chances going forward. I think that the change for in the game was when PAC made 3 subs: Enrique, Russell, Jared Lyons, and Booth. And they changed the whole dynamics of the PAC. They played more direct football. They were going at the goal a lot more, getting crosses in. Devonshire Colts goalkeeper he had a good game today. But I think that it was one team that was playing fast, the other team was playing more control attack. So I actually enjoyed watching it for the most part. Learning these players, these guys are not shooting. Enrique Russell had the ball 7 yards from goal. He's still dribbling, just him and the keeper, and the defender came and was able to clear. So some things that they need to play. Obviously, as a country, we need to play faster. But overall, it was a good game.
Yeah. Danica, you spent the day at the Wellington Oval where it was a doubleheader. Give us your take on the second match, the St. George's Colts Somerset Trojans match.
St. George's are the in-rushed enemies also. They need to put the chances away. They had chances. They wouldn't put them away. They held on to the ball too long. I found that Somerset, young players up there, that Johnny Bean, I think he plays for Somerset.
Yes.
Him being the oldest player up there, they play well. Played the ball long, getting it over. They had the chances too, didn't put them away first half. They had 1 or 2 in the second half, but, and Somerset's goalkeeper, he was also, he had a couple of shots at him from, I believe it was Clay and can't remember who the other guy was. But, I thought they need to get it together. Move more faster. They held onto the ball too long and, not talking. They had the chances and like I said, they got to put them away. That's the only downfall. Losing 1-0 last week, losing 1-0 again this week, Yeah.
Maceo, you bounced between 2 games. Give us your take on the first game you saw.
It surprises me how Village set up, and they're able to get away with how they set up. And the kid Jaisal Smith the Shields, while he scores goals for Village, his movement for me is not striker-like movement, but he worries defenses. The other part that surprises me on the small field when I reflect on both Rangers and North Village, why they don't press each other, because none of the North Village were attempted to play out from the back, and they're not totally comfortable with that. They're not totally comfortable with playing out from the back, but Rangers were allowing it, and vice versa. So there are things in the game that can improve the rhythm for both Rangers and North Village, but the coaches don't seem to be taking those options. So, like, I'll give you an example. Simon Simmons comes on the field for North Village in the winger position. He doesn't really have the pace to get cross people. He doesn't have the fitness, and a slight tweak in a Jaisal going on the wing and a Rai as striker changes the dynamics. Whereas you get a Rai that's capable of scoring and a Jaisal Smith the Shields that's capable of scoring from the wing. So right now, Village is overly relying on Jaisal to score, and if a coach figures out how to stop that service to him, it'll be interesting to see what answers Village has.
Yeah.
As it relates to PAT, I felt that PAT and Colts, I felt that would be the foundation for PT to launch, to sort of stabilize themselves. Because even though I saw them play Wednesday night and they came back from 3-1 down. and they are actually slowly and slowly getting better. You know, so today showed a bit of immaturity that they were leading the game and they let it slip. But they are actually getting better, and that's because they have that culture and that belief. So whereas you reflect on Rangers, and you know there's a lot of imported players at Rangers. Once they got done, there you could see it wasn't no pride in that team. It's very difficult for the coach to draw on any pride to do any extra to bring to get a positive result. I think PAT is going to be fine moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Punchy, when you look at the changes that were made by Kenny and to improve the performance of North Village, where else does he have to go?
Good question. Very good question. I think on the right fullback side, the right attacking fullback, I'm still questioning about him. He gets space, he gets behind defense. The way the team is structured, he gets a lot of time on to make better decisions. But really, not really. I think his once he gets in the attacking half, it's still he's still very. It's not that. It's not really quality. Now, I'm going to change. I'm going to talk about Rangers. Let's say influential players. Quinard Maynard, is that his name? Quinard Maynard. He plays. I don't talk about his. I didn't find much about him. He doesn't influence the game that much. He played. I think Trey Mean that went from PHC. I think that's his name, Trey Mean.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. He made this statement about his Quinard Maynard is one of the best players he's ever seen. But I don't see his influence on the game.
Mm-hmm.
I never see his total, like you say, every time he gets on the ball, there's something you have to watch. I found that when Kenny got to what he set up his defensively, Maynard was like very, very, I was like, who is he? So my point is that I thought Kenny did a very good, what he did today, how he set the team up, again, also against Robin Hood. Just very productive. Again, giving all praise to Mr. Bryars. I think all he's doing is a very functional. That's what Kenny is about. Makes the team function well, and they did the job really well. I'm telling you, it could have been maybe 5-2 in Norfolk's favor. If I think maybe the chances that Rangers created, maybe 2 or 3 in the first half. They struck the post once or twice, but I still think influence like Mr. Maynard that they talk about, I just don't see it. So let's say, for instance, if he's going to the national program, what is his influence on the game? I didn't recognize it. I thought they're still flat. They play too slow at times. And I just thought that if you really do your homework against, let them go wide. Okay, put the ball wide. Let them see what they do when they get the ball wide. Who makes the final decisions? Who makes the final decision in the top third of the field? Can you figure that out? And then the counter attack, I'll tell you, really, it could have been North Village. Trust me, really. I think Jomar is still doing a good job. I thought the game was played in a very good spirit. The quality was good. The structure was good. But still, I'm still looking at the fact: what are the influential players doing? What is the impact? And I keep saying about Maynard. Hey, you talk about him. Really, I didn't see his influence today. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Keita, when you look at you talked about the youthfulness of both PHC and Devonshire Colts, but do you see potential down the road as the season goes on? Maxier has indicated that he sees PHC getting better, but do you see these players improving as the season goes on?
Oh, definitely. Both teams, actually. I think that they will get stronger as the season goes on. Colts have a pretty decent defensive line. I think once reserve left the match, they kind of lost their attacking prowess, so to speak, and didn't really trouble PAC's goalkeeper too much after that. So there are some things that they need to work on. going forward. PHC defensively not bad either, but they have a little bit more of an attacking threat. And as I said, once those three players came on, young Josh got hurt, which opened up the gate for Booth to come on. But I think that PAC will see the effect that those three players that came on, definitely Jared Lyons and Booth, the effect that they have on like their direct football, they will push back quite a few defenders or have them thinking. In this, before that, young Josh was running at Colts' defense, but many times he didn't have anybody up there with him. So the changes that they made, they had to make, and the changes made all the difference.
Yeah. Danica, I want to go to that Hamilton Parish game because the youngster Otterbridge has now scored 7 goals in 2 games. But how I haven't seen him play yet, and I think we need to keep an eye on him. But how does Hamilton Parish set up for him to actually score goals on a regular? Because they scored, what was it, 8 last week or 7 last week and 5 this week?
Well, he plays a lot on wide, so a lot of times, and I mean, he's fast, so him playing out wide, usually he's left alone. So by the time the opposing team he's playing, by the time they get to him, he's tricky. So it's, either push the ball around him and, he's did that a couple of times today between 2 and 3 guys, but he plays a lot wide. And then when you look again, he's back in the middle playing. So
What did you think of Hamilton Parish's overall performance though? Because sometimes you could win big, but it's not always a dominant performance.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it was dominant. I mean, Social Club did pretty much, they came at us at one point. But like I said, once we got across the 3rd goal or so, it's like they start arguing amongst themselves, and getting at the ref and, causing unnecessary falls and stuff like that. So,
Maceo, you talked about heart when you was talking about, the Rangers players and so forth. But that's not just them. It's a lot of teams. And as Danica indicated, once Social Club went down 3-1 or 3-0, and whatever it was, everybody tends to drop their heads and find all sorts of excuses. How do we change that culture in football in general?
That's something that's got to be sorted out at the PD stage, because you're right. It is culture where when it gets difficult, we tend to give in. The answer to changing that culture is, some things that we're going to be very comfortable with in this country is being criticized. Everybody would know that I'm highly critical of the game, and it's not always positive criticism that I give to the clubs or that I give to the player. Sometimes it's negative criticism, that's just as valuable. But we're not comfortable with that. And how do you change it? In circumstances like this, where we're analyzing players, we're analyzing the game. You got the likes of Garrett Deal, Nikita Robinson, and us. We have to get critical of the game. If you look at the world game, Jose Mourinho gets criticized for bad decisions. I mean, you saw what happened today with United playing and Liverpool playing. There is a high level of criticism, and that's something that we are actually afraid of in Bermuda, to be critical of each other, because we're such a close knit community. So we need to be able to be comfortable with feedback and criticism from early on.
Right. Punchy, when you were playing, obviously you guys had your moments when you dominated matches, but there were times where you guys struggled, and it came down to that togetherness. So when it was hard times, how did you guys stay together to fight through whatever battles and challenges you had?
Good point. I'm glad you asked that question. That very, very good point that you said, Maceo, about criticism in this country. First of all, When Norfolk was Triple Crown champions, and we were playing that great football. Every Monday night we were required to go to the meetings, team meetings, and we were subjected to some very harsh criticism. That's what helped me a lot. When I was 17 years, people say, hey, look, that course didn't come in well. You didn't get your head up. When you took a corner, why didn't you put the ball in the 6-yard box? So anyway, getting back to about criticism. I'm very good friends. I'm going to change the subject. I'm very good friends with Mr. Freddie Hall and David Signal, who are very instrumental in what St. George's are trying to achieve down there. And what I find, I'm trying to come full circle with this, sir, about commitment and dedication to what you're trying to achieve. I found that I could be very critical of the influential players in St. George's Health. If I were to call names, I think Jerome Dixon needs to really up his game. He has a responsibility in terms of what direction that St. George is going. I find him a lot more, when things don't go his way, he doesn't play that well. You know, when Extras were doing good 2 years ago, Jerome was scoring all his goals. But when he has to really dig in, those are directly about what I've seen. So I think St. George's lost again. I know they're going to have problems in terms of scoring chances, making the best of what they created. They scored in 15, 20 minutes against Norfolk last week. They should have been 2-0 up. But I probably think that's what's happened again. So again, responsibility on terms of the team function, how the team organizes, and criticism. You know, I think my cousin LaShawn Deal, you know, he's still, you know, he doesn't, his finishing in the 18-yard box. Oh my God, I'm like, whoa, he should be playing. He should have nothing than 10 or 15 goals. His tall, but some of these decisions that he makes in the last third, I'm like, whoa. You know, St. George's should have beat Norfolk at least 4-2 last week. That's what I'm saying. So my criticism then, getting back to what Maceo was saying about being, critical and critiquing players, identifying what the problem is, and where they go from. I keep heads off to St. George's. It's only 1-0. They lost 2 games, right? But it's only 1-0. I know they create chances. I know there will be a team. They'll create 3 or 4 chances. They need to score those chances. So that's it. That's what I'm saying in terms of being just referring to what Maceo said. You know, that's all.
Yeah. Well, Janika, you was at that game, so listening to what Punch is saying, would you agree?
I would say has hit the nail right on the head.
You've seen them play twice, and they've created chances, but haven't been able to score.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Yeah. The only way you can actually win a match, you got to be able to score. So they would need to do some work on that. But looking at it, Coach Keita, how would you have adjusted things for? And we'll use Devonshire Colts. Okay, so reserve scores, he goes off. So they have to change a little bit of that shape and a little bit of that extra power going forward. So how would you have adjusted things for them?
Well, obviously, I don't think they had another player to go on and do what reserve is able to do. So I think that he brought on another player, and I think he kind of changed the formation a bit to try to slow PAC up through the middle, and it worked. All right. For the most part, Colts was in control of the match, and they did lose something in reserve, but it didn't slow them down. Yeah. They're a very hungry and aggressive team. Young Jaquilo, the skipper, he really took control, of the game and of the match. So the thing, going back to when teams go down and players have to start looking within themselves. Players have to look within themselves, and they don't. Players in Bermuda, I find they look for an excuse. They look for a reason why they didn't win or anything like that. So what I saw in the Colts and PAC game, it wasn't players. I mean, it wasn't people getting down on people. Like they kept pushing, and PAC kept pushing as well. And Colts scoring their second goal was a result of that. Like it was hard because those two girls from PAC came late in the match, and Colts could have just given up, but they didn't. They pressed and they kept going and kept going, and they got the goal. And it was a well taken goal. The top of the box, ball came across. The player swung his foot, swung his foot, and went into the bottom right corner. But I think that what Ray did to kind of handle his situation with losing reserves so early, I think it worked for the most part of the game. PAC's first goal was like a scramble. Ball was all over the place. Some of the Colts defenders hadn't kind of gotten back, and it ended up being a 2v1. And then the goalkeeper went to the ball, and Keyshawn, brilliant pass inside, crossed the mouth, and the boy ran on and scored it. And then they came right back. The second goal again, the girls were like so excited. Like it was always something that happened for us. It wasn't like just direct and go. So I think that both coaches did well to make adjustments. Hence the scoreline, right? They did well to make the adjustments. But I do credit Colts for not giving up. At that stage in the game, they could have been like, they could have dropped their heads and been like, but they fought, and they came back.
Two games I do want to mention. Obviously, last night, Robin Hood beat Somerset Eagles in their first game of the Premier Division 4-1. And then down at Garrison Field, Devonshire Cougars got their first win of the season, defeating Crossroads 3-0. Looking at Robin Hood, they've scored 10 goals and conceded 2 right out of the gate. They look like they're found their goal scoring machine now. I remember, if it weren't last season, it was the season before last. Basically, correct me if I'm wrong. They jumped out and were scoring a lot of goals early, and then it started to fall off. Can you see something of that nature, or do you think they have enough in the closet that would help them stay as consistent and in scoring goals as they are?
Well, it's amazing you asked that question. 2 years ago, after Carl Lightborn finished with Robin Hood, and Robin Hood were taken over by Jerome Barry, I made a statement to Carl Lightborn that they would not win the league. So Carl Lightborn, we had a debate about it, and it goes back to culture. It goes back to culture again. Carl Lightborn, growing up as PT, has a culture of winning. So he knows, and I want to use the word ruthlessness when it comes down to winning. And that's something that I believe that Jerome Barry has coach lacks. And I've had that conversation with Jerome Barry as well. He grew up at Wolves. He was the good player at Wolves, but he really lost games when it mattered most. I've coached against him, when I was coaching the likes of Jamiko Jennings, Kofi, and those players. And when it mattered most, he lost games. And that happened last year. And his way of winning games is overpowering teams. So when the first game that Robin Hood won, he was able to overpower the other team. Now I saw the other night against North Village, whereas Kenny set up where he couldn't overpower him, and he had no answer. But it's part of Jordan Barrett's personality as an athlete, as a football player. His physique where he overpowered people. But once you take that away from him, he doesn't have an answer. So because of that, I think that the clever coaches, he's going to struggle against, but he can't overpower the opposition.
Okay, all right. You look at the score line down at Garrison, Punchy, Devonshire Cougars beating Crossroads 3-0. And we talked about some players from Devonshire Cougars that kind of have that opportunity to raise the team's play. Did that scoreline kind of reflect on how you thought things would go down there?
Well, I watched Devonshire Cougars the first game I watched it, and I was really surprised about how organized they were. They looked very smart on the ball. I didn't know who's coaching them, but I thought at times they managed to, against the speed of Dendytown or BA. I was really surprised. They absorbed the pressure. They were very clever also. They were very clever. So I was like, who's coaching this team? Who's got these players when they wrote the rotation of the ball. I thought it was good. I was like, whoa, I was surprised. I think they're gonna be okay. I still don't know who the coach is. I don't know who's coaching them. But I think most of all is about, again, what I talked to you about last week: structure, organization. I think people like Kenny, I think Somerset with Larry Smith has done a tremendous job. Remember, they'll win by 1-0. Look what they're doing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
his seniority, Larry Smith is a very smart person, just like Andrew, just like Maceo, just like Kita, Danica. As we've gone, this game is, the ones like us was starting the game more. You can't fool Maceo and Kita about the structure of the game. You can't fool them. So that's what I'm saying about, we can analyze the game, but I'm very good to be helping out. But when I look at, like I say about Quinn Maynard, his influence, now need much more. I think in terms of what I saw, what Kenny has done, restructured, rethought him, smart person, doing actually, I thought it was really smart what he done today, and he's done against Robin Hood the other night. Robin Hood was very wasteful in the 18-yard box, very wasteful. Yeah. But I still think that at the time we still could have won the game like 4-3, at least 5-3. So my point is, getting back to this, is about organization. Still, what I talked about, last week. Smart coaches. I think Joe Maradona is still doing a good job. Still concerned about the youth program. I ain't touched on that yet, but the youth program is still questionable. Mm-hmm. So again, I think overall, I think the quality of the game today, what I witnessed, was very good. Structure good. And Norfolk took the chance as well. The one that scored the goal for us, Maceo, what's his name? Smith. The one that scored the goals for us.
Giselle.
Giselle. Yeah. He's really, he plays in spurts. I find him all the time. I think he can be so much better. I think Kenny will correct him. His first touch is always a dribble. He's just got to keep playing. He is a wonderful goal scorer. Once he plays in small pockets wrongly. He just keeps playing. Every time I just watch him all the time. His first touch is always a dribble. And at times Norfolk's counterattack decided to dribble instead of making the correct pass. But he's a wonderful. I think he's exciting. He sees to go, and he sees to go well. I'll tell you. But again, that's my opinion of him. Okay, that's it. Again, back to St. George's. I will talk to Mr. Freddie Hall and Mr. David Signal tomorrow. I think they're doing a wonderful job, but they're inexperienced in the top third. That's it. That's what I feel about St. George.
Well, let's turn our attention for a little bit to that first division, because obviously Hamilton Parish have staked a claim, looking as if they will be one of the teams that will be vying for the league title to get promoted. The other team, quietly, is the Boulevard Blazers. They won. They beat Flanagan's last week. They've beaten Vasco this week, so they've got 6 points. St. David's have now had their first game, but that ended up a draw. So looking at the Boulevard Blazers, and we know what Boulevard can do if they get themselves together. I think the first division for them may be a little easy, but as the season goes on and the lack of training that they usually go through once the time goes back, do you think, Keita, it would affect them as prior seasons have seen them kind of go down in playing, go down in attitude, go down in performances?
I don't think so. I think that the first division is their ceiling at the moment. And with the results that they're getting now, that momentum is going to carry them through, right? If it was the opposite way around, I could see it be getting worse, but I don't see them falling off as the season goes on. I think, someone mentioned it last week, in the first division, you tend to have 2 or 3 really good teams. And so, they have the ability, they have the skill to continue to work. I think that St. David's possibly, and definitely Hamilton Parish will be their challenge. but I don't see them falling off, regardless of training habits or anything. You know, just because of, you know, what it is to be playing in the first division, and not knocking the division, but you know, Boulevard spent a few seasons up in the Premier League, and if they have the same kind of players, you know, this right now it's more like training sessions for them. So I think they're going to do fine. Vance Brown is coaching at Cougars with Mark Smith is his assistant coach.
Yes.
But they did some pretty smart work in the off season to bring in some players. So that's, you know, that's part of it. And, you know, you have an influential player such as Lejeune at Cougars, who can actually, you know, carry the team if need be, which I see he had done today. So yeah, Cougars is going to be the team to watch out for.
Yeah. I'm going to go to you, Danica, because you've watched Hamilton Parish play twice, and the fact that they have kind of dominated the first game, obviously against Vasco, and then came out scoring more goals. Where do you think their weakness is? Not because they've seemed to dominate, but where would you pinpoint a weakness for Hamilton Parish?
From today's game, I would say probably in the defense today. But I mean, from last week's game, it was last week. I would say it wasn't any type of weakness last week, but this week watching them, I would say probably down in the defense was probably a little slow getting to the ball, you know, and not clearing the ball when they should be clearing the ball and all that stuff. But I would say
do you think a little bit of overconfidence was in today's performance after what they were able to do last week?
Yes, I did see a bit of that. You could see a bit of that in them today.
Well, yes. Let's get to those picks. Watch Keita smile. Let's get to those picks from last week. So in the match, the first match, Robin Hood versus Somerset Eagles, everyone with the exception of Danica picked Robin Hood. So we were all off to a flying start on Saturday night except Danica. So then the next Premier Division match, Phc Zebras versus Devonshire Colts. Well, we all picked a team, and the match ended in a draw, so no one would have picked up a point anywhere there. And then the next match was Crossroads versus Devonshire Cougars, and everyone picked Devonshire Cougars to win, and Devonshire Cougars did. So that was 2 points for myself, Punchy, Maceo, and Nikita, and 1 for Danica. The next match was St. George's Colts versus Somerset Trojans. Now, the only person to pick the Trojans was Nikita. Danica and I picked Devonshire Colts, and Punchy and you and Maceo picked a draw. And then that Southampton Rangers North Village Rams match, myself, Punchy, Maceo, and Danica all picked Southampton Rangers, with Nikita getting her 4th win, picked North Village Rams. She ran out on a limb, and she ended up in the Premier Division with 4 out of 5. How's that for you?
Well, winner, chicken dinner. That's right. And PAC let me down, and I had PAC to
Yes,
win.
you had PAC to win. Yes.
Come on, Zebra.
Yes. So, no, you had Colts to win, Nikita.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you picked Colts. You and Punchy picked Colts, and the other we three picked PAC. Then in the first division, Island Rangers taking on St. David's, and we all picked St. David's. And then the Boulevard Blazers taking on Vasco, we all picked Boulevard. And of course, Hamilton Parish playing Social Club, we all picked Hamilton Parish. So in the end, it worked out that Nikita Robinson has 6 points going into next week. Myself, Punchy, Maceo have 4, and Danica has 3. So the Bermuda Football Association held the FA Challenge Cup draw on Friday, and also held the Dudley Eve draw to see who advanced. And as we all know, North Village and the Somerset Trojans have advanced, with Robin Hood losing out because all 3 teams ended up with 3 points and 1 goal for, 1 goal against. So they drew to see who would advance. North Village finished on top of the table. But they also announced that week 1 of the season that was postponed due to the second hurricane will be played, the Premier Division matches will be played on Sunday, October the 11th. So we're going to be picking the first weekend of the season 4, which we'll see. I'll just mention them and then we can go through them. On the Dandytown Hornets will take on Crossroads. North Village are at home to Devonshire Colts. Devonshire Cougars are at home to Somerset Eagles. Southampton Rangers are at home to St. George's Colts. And Robin Hood are at home to Somerset Trojans, with PHC receiving a bye. So we've had that opportunity to hear those matches. Maceo, let's start with you and the Dandytown versus Crossroads. Your pick and your opinion.
On a southward slide, so, and Dandytown is growing in strength. So definitely Dandytown to win that match.
Okay. Punchy?
I picked Dandytown to win with Maceo. Yeah, I picked Dandytown to win that match. Getting much more organized. I think Kwame is gonna eventually fix the little problems that he has. I still think this is my personal opinion. I still think Kwame will tell him. I think Sequoia should play wide. Sequoia shouldn't play inside. Use Sequoia outside, and you get more production of him. He doesn't make very good decisions inside around crowded area.
Danica?
I pick Dandytown.
Okay, Coach Keita?
Yeah. I think Dandytown's going to got a nice little young team. They got 3 pretty good goalkeepers. I think Dandytown's going to take it. Yeah.
That will be all 5 picking the Dandytown Hornets to defeat Crossroads on next weekend. Then we move to North Village Rams hosting Devonshire Colts. We'll start with you, Coach Keita.
Who we hosted? I'm sorry. Punchy was talking. Who is it?
North Village Rams versus Devonshire Colts.
Yeah, North Village.
Okay. Danica?
Okay, sorry.
I'm going to take North Village myself.
Okay. Punchy?
North Village. I'm sorry, I just went over. North Village and who?
Devonshire Colts.
Who's her?
North Village. At Bernard Park.
That's gonna be a tough one. Because I'm pro North Village, I'm gonna take North Village. It's gonna be a difficult game. I thought last year North Village played against Devonshire Colts in, I think, the FA. But that's really one of those old rivalries. I picked North Village. I want him to win, but it's gonna be a tough one. I'll pick North Village.
Okay. Maceo?
Yeah, what North is proven in the games that I've watched them is that they are actually hard to beat. They're hard to score on. So against Rangers that scores a lot of goals, and against Robin Hood that scores a lot of goals, North Village came out of there with clean sheets. So that's going to make it difficult for Devonshire Colts to penetrate North Village. I don't see that young team being able to penetrate North Village, and such North Village will win the game against Devonshire Colts.
Okay. So that's going to be another all 5 going to the same team, which I'm going to take North Village for that victory at home. Then we move to Devonshire Cougars playing their first game at Devonshire Rec, hosting Somerset Eagles. I will start with you, Tanika.
I'm going to take Devonshire Cougars.
Okay. All right. Punchy? Can you hear me, Punchy? Okay, well, Coach Keita, let's come to you.
Devonshire Cougars.
Devonshire Cougars at home over Somerset Eagles. Punchy, did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. I'm sorry about that. I went offline. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. What about him?
Okay. Go ahead. Devonshire Cougars are at home to Somerset Eagles.
Devonshire Cougars.
Devonshire Cougars.
Yeah.
Maceo?
Yeah, I agree. Devonshire Cougars, they're actually showing an organization that I didn't anticipate them showing. So they're getting stronger and stronger, and they have some seasoned players. So they're now coming into the rocking my sort of viewpoint of competing for the league title now. So Devonshire Cougars will beat on Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take Devonshire Cougars to get their second win of the season as well. So once again, we've all decided to take the same team. Now, Southampton Rangers are at home to St. George's Colts. I'm going to start with you, Punchy.
I still think that I think there's gonna be a victory for Southampton Rangers. Until I kind of have to get in the ear of Mr. Freddie Hall, Mr. David Signal again.
Okay.
You know, it's not an embarrassment to lose 1-0. They're still close. They're close. I would like to talk to him tomorrow and work with them. Find out what is still the problem. Of course, just how they're still lacking what we're talking about. Look, there's 2 games. There's 180 minutes, and they're still losing by the odd goal. So something's right that they're doing. Something's right, but something's also wrong up in the top third.
Right.
So I believe it's still possible that they can come away with a draw against Southampton, but I still give the odd. I think Southampton are just gonna, you know, it's not easy. Listen, you're not gonna score easy goals against Freddie.
Yeah.
Goals against Freddie Hall. You're not gonna score a 20-yard goal outside for Freddie Hall. It's very organized. So how do St. George's lose the game? I would like to know how they lost the game today and how the goal was scored. Against North Village, the ball was inside the 6-yard box. Ball played behind the fence. Ball coming sliding in. So there is we're talking with those people, talking with David and Freddie about what they need to improve on. And I think the structure is getting much better. But I still think that Southampton would take that game.
All right.
I still think so.
Maceo?
I'm going with St. George's. The reason being, Rangers now at their home field, the front line lacks the fitness and explosiveness to really break down people. And with St. George's being very organized, you know, when I saw St. George's play North Village, it was the kid Jasper Shields because of his movement. You know, he puts pressure on people, he makes people make mistakes, and that's how he scores. That doesn't happen with Southampton Rangers front line. You know, they don't have that movement that puts you under pressure. So St. George's organization is gonna prevent Rangers from scoring. The other piece about Rangers, they needed to go with momentum. Their momentum is shifted. So I suspect there's going to be a lot of questioning going on this week. So I'm picking St. George's.
Danica?
I'm going with my St. George's. There's hope. There's hope. Trust me. There's hope. We're going to win. Losing by the four goal for the last 2 weeks. Something's about to happen.
All right. Coach Keita?
I'm going with Rangers.
Okay. All right. I think I'm going to go with Maceo and Danica, and I'll tell you why. Like North Village, who started off without scoring goals and were losing by the odd goal here and there, I think St. George's are just one game away from finding the back of the net, where, as you guys say, Southampton Rangers right now, and Joe Ma will work with them this week, but how many of them will be able to respond? And I think with St. George's losing 1-0 to North Village and 1-0 to Somerset, it would give them some inspiration to get a goal or two at Southampton Oval and jumpstart their season. So I'm going to go with St. George's. Now we'll go to Robin Hood against Somerset Trojans. Robin Hood at home. And we're going to start with you, Coach Keita, who's on the rule.
That game can be a draw. That can be a draw.
Okay. Danica?
I'm going to give Keita. I think it's going to be a draw team.
Okay. Punchy?
Robin Hood. 3-0, 3-1, or even 4-1. Too much firepower. I think Larry listen, experience-wise, I've seen Robin Hood play. I think they're a very fine team. I think they're still got quality. They've got quality. Trust me. Against us, the other night up at National Stadium, they were pathetic. Not pathetic. I'm sorry. They were very bad in the 18-yard to finish it. But they created quite a few chances, right? So I think they were exposed Somerset's inexperience. I think I'm looking at Robin Hood to be 4-1. That's it.
Maceo?
I'm going with Somerset. The reason being because Somerset two coaches and Dio Seymour and Larry Smith, they're organized to notify what Robin Hood danger is. And again, I've seen it a few times. Once you stop Robin Hood from being able to play and overpower, they don't have an answer. So I think Somerset will be able to do it, and history will come into play. Somerset being a big club, and with Dio as well as Larry there, they will be motivating their players to win the game against Robin Hood. I'm picking Somerset to win.
You were cut off. You're picking Somerset, you said?
Yeah, Somerset. I'm going for Somerset.
I'm gonna take a little bit of experience with Robin Hood getting over Somerset. Somerset will go into the game feeling good. They've picked up 2 big wins over the 2 promoted teams from the first division last year, having beaten Devonshire Colts the first week, now beating St. George's. But now they've had a year under their belt. But I think with the youngster Corday, he'll be the difference between the 2 teams. So. And he'll be energized to play against his former team. And I know Somerset will be looking to shut him down, but I think Robin Hood will have just a little bit too much firepower and will come out on top over Somerset there. So before we go, I did have a chance to speak with Clay Smith, who wishes everyone well. We did, on behalf of you guys, I did wish him a speedy recovery. He said it's day to day, and he's looking forward to when he can get back to Bermuda and obviously join us here. So I can't wait for that day because, just having another person on and having another voice and another opinion, I think makes this even much better. And as I know, walking through the streets sometimes, people stop and talk about what we've discussed in these short few weeks. And I know it's making a difference because I know players are even watching because they're having chats about, because someone else is giving their opinion on their performances. So we look to continue. We'll be back next Sunday after those Premier Division matches, and I guess we'll discuss the first round of the FA Challenge Cup as well. So before we go, obviously there's some heads being held due to some English football results earlier today. Maceo don't want to hear nothing, but the fact that Keela's holding her head too. But the fact that your arch enemies lost West. Because you all are Manchester United fans, right?
Call it a draw and not talk about it.
No Village winning and Liverpool losing, soften the blow for me. That's the only thing.
I'm gonna add my stuff here. My team. Sorry, I'm not quite into this here, but it's about how football. I'm sorry, Keita. I'm sorry. No, which I've always for the last 20 or 30 years. Oh yeah. But you know that Bielsa, that old Argentinian coach, that brain is bringing a whole different concept to the game now. Just look at that team. They are playing it's changing everything, the concept now. Because we should have beat City too, But anyway, that's my personal opinion. I think with 6, I don't know how long we're gonna last. Look what Sheffield United. I tell you, that Leeds United, they still got that glamour, and that old man, that Argentinian knows this game. So, that's my team. Yeah, I mean, I'm even watching when they play now. I take off to watch them now.
Been your team. He's the only brother that's not in the Premier. Now he's in the Premier. Now he gets to join the party.
Hey, well, you see, you see how the technician is. He don't even speak in the cameras. He's looking down. See how he's up and down. It's like whoa. But just he's not putting another difference into the Premier that the EPL. It's like now you got to think, not a glamorous team leads, but they do have something. That Argentinian coach, that old man knows what he's doing. Yeah, there you go. So there you my Leeds United jersey, and I'm good. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. Thank you all much. Thank you very much for including me. My inclusive. Thank you again. I wish.
Yeah. Well, we've come to the end, and I want to wish you all a good week, and we will look forward to seeing you all here again 6 o'clock next week for another edition of the IslandStats Football Show. Enjoy your night, all.
You too, Earl. Have a good one. You guys too. Safe.
Yeah. Bye-bye.